How can we make the schools in America better? Well, more than 40 years of research shows that family engagement in education is an essential component for student success. Hello and welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Ebony Ruffins. For the next few minutes, we'll be talking about education with Nathan Monell, the Executive Director of the National Parent-Teacher Association, or PTA. Nathan, thanks so much for being here with us.
I'm happy to be here.
So talking about the success of schools, there's a number of key players. When we think about the school system and the classroom, we've got the students as the client, parents, administrators, teachers, aides. How reliant are those particular key players? How reliant are they on each other for the student's success? Some would say parents really are the foundation for the success of the student generally, but there's a number of players that must work together.
Absolutely. So, we know that parents have a unique understanding of their students that nobody else does, right? So, as a dad, I have a better understanding of my daughter and my son than anybody in the school has. But the school has them for so many hours during the day that partnership of working together to say, what is the need of this student? What are the capabilities of this student? What are the opportunities for this student? That's a partnership that works out together. So whether it's the counseling office, whether it's the teacher, whether it's the special needs that might be provided for the student, those all have to work together to create success for the student.
And it sounds to me like you're saying the parent plays a role at every single step of that process, from the interaction between student to teacher, student to counselor, student to administrator. The parent really can influence the success of all of those relationships. Is that right?
They certainly can. And within the PTA, we're not only looking at the relationship between the individual parent and their child, but also the role that all parents have for all the children in the schools. So within the National PTA, we have a tagline that says, every child, one voice. And so our voice is unified together to make sure we're looking at all the students in the school to make sure that their needs are being met. Sometimes the way that happens is through the informal interactions between parents where they're having conversations with one another while they're waiting for their students to be picked up, or through social media. Those contexts allow us to be able to create a community where with teachers we can support teachers who might be having challenges in the classroom, or principals who are having cultural issues, or where there might be violence in a neighborhood, where parents can all come together and say, we need to work on this together to make sure our students have the best opportunity in their one time to go through the education process. My daughter's a fifth grader. She's only going to do fifth grade one time, so we have to get it right each grade they go through.
So when we think about teachers, there are a number of statistics that show teachers would be happiest and more inclined to choose to work at schools that foster an environment of high parent-teacher involvement and workplace safety versus an environment where there's very little parent involvement and wherein the schools just aren't as safe and maybe there's higher compensation. So for a number of teachers, they say, my priority is working at a school where the parents are involved and I'm safe and I'll take less money potentially. That seems to be the preference, which might surprise some folks.
Yeah, we're absolutely right, Ebony. We know from the research the parents do provide an environment where teachers are going to be very happy to work in that school district. And I think it's not only how the parents are engaged, but how they're engaged. So one of the things we can do as a PTA is to talk to parents about what's a productive way to provide feedback to the schools so the schools have the best opportunity for their children. But we, in all of our work, everybody, no matter where we work, the culture matters as much as the resources we're receiving. And so we know that when parents are engaged, the teachers have a much better interaction with the students. We know that attendance is better at schools when parents are engaged. We know that the opportunities that students take advantage are higher when parents are engaged. And so it's just really not fair to take 20-some students and hand them to a teacher and say, here, this is your responsibility, I'm going to take off. The parents need to be involved very much in that process, and when they are, teachers appreciate it.
So one last question about the parent who says, here, I'm going to send my student to the teacher, and then a little bit hands-off. For those parents who maybe have a little bit of a challenge when it comes to their day-to-day operations and being able to fit in time to connect with the teachers on back-to-school night or even on a regular basis to even pick their children up and interact with the teacher Monday through Friday, and they say, well, listen, I'm working 2 and 3 jobs. I have very limited time to be involved. What would be your advice to that parent who says, I really care about my child's success, I want my student to do well, I want the teacher to feel like I'm invested, but time is limited?
Sure. The best family engagement that happens is what happens at home. So the ability to work with your child doing homework, the ability to talk to them about how their day was, those are the things that matter the most. And so do that first. So if you have time for only one thing, do a family engagement at home. Talk about school, talk about the daily experience, talk about the academics, help them with their homework, check their homework, read the folders that come home from school. At least do that. And we know some families can't do much more than that. And so we have sympathy and understanding for that. And certainly that's within PTA why we say we need to be watching out for everybody's children, because not everybody can go to the meetings, not everybody can participate in fundraisers. Not everybody can advocate for more funding for their schools. And so we have to pick that up for those who can't. But I would also encourage folks, when they have the capacity, to look at the other ways that schools are very effectively trying to engage parents. So a higher use of social media, greater use of email and calendar items that help parents stay in touch with what's going on in their school.
Nathan Monell, thanks so much for leading this charge. And thank you for joining us for this edition of Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Ebony Ruffins.